Celeb Savant is a career retrospective type interview focusing on singers, actors, and industry experts. Join Barrett Edelstein now as he dives into the entertainment world.
Tresor is a multi-award winning and platinum-selling breakout singer-songwriter and producer who's based in South Africa. He released his debut album 7 in 2015. The album featured collaborations with multi-award winning artists such as AKA, Beatenberg, Kulichana and The Soil. The Mount Everest Freddie Verano remix music video, a #1 airplay hit in Italy, and a song that reached #1 on the global Shazam trending list, quickly reached over 1 million views online after its release. 7 won Best Pop Album at the 2016 South African Music Awards and was also one of the most nominated albums. Tresor's second album, The Beautiful Madness, was released worldwide in 2017. His illustrious career has seen him dominate international charts, collaborate with global icons like Drake and Metallica, and earn critical acclaim for his genre-defining sound. As the founder of Jacquille Entertainment Group, Tresor has also cemented himself as a pioneering force in the business of music. With an extraordinary discography that includes critically acclaimed albums like 7, The Beautiful Madness, and Nostalgia, Tresor has carved out a legacy as an African pop maverick and one of the continent's most celebrated musical exports. Up next on Celeb Savant, we've got Tresor.
Where in the world are you and how are you doing?
I'm good, brother. Thank you so much. It's great, really great to be here today. Today, I'm in Johannesburg.
At what age, whether as a child or teenager, did you feel cool? I want to be in this world, this creative world. And how did that journey progress?
I would say for me, I was probably around 8 years old when, coming from Congo, we will go to like the local churches and you'll see people singing in a choir, and I start playing a round of drums and guitars. And from there, just really my passion, it really gave me this spark, of passion for the creative arts. And I start developing my love for drumming, playing guitar and singing. And from there, I started joining local bands, which gave me a lot of trouble throughout school, primary school and high school. And it's from joining local bands, I started doing my own music. And it's been really something I've done since I was about 8 years old.
So why did joining the local bands at school cause trouble?
Because, when you're young, you don't really know how to balance things. You get to neglect, your schoolwork, and in favor of doing so much rehearsal for your guitar work and getting a lot of attention, in your neighborhood or your school, feeling cool as a kid, and I don't think earlier on my parents were not really chuffed with me, with, putting a lot of time in music. So I got in a lot of trouble with my folks around, but it's something that was really fun and really shaped pretty much my whole childhood and teenage years.
And how did you convince your parents to allow you to continue on this path when it was causing so much challenges?
I think it's funny. I invited them to one of the concerts we did in our hometown, and I remember seeing my dad in the back just staring at me, but moving his head calmly, just staring. Fighting, the vibe, fighting the move, just staring at me. Later on, he's like, man, that was good, but you're dancing too much.
Understanding that this was a path in the bands, how did that next step of you becoming professional, what were those elements that allowed that to happen?
For me, it's been, it was just like a very long journey, man, of putting in work over the years. And I became professional only like when I was about 21, but it took many years for me to be able to get there. And it really has been a journey, been quite a long journey, which I'm really grateful for.
How did you keep yourself motivated during that journey to say, okay, I'm going to just keep going until I achieve this?
I think throughout my life, I've always been a very relentless person. And, from the time I was very young, I chose this path as like, this is what I want to do for a living. And I was very, very convinced this is the path I want to take. So for me, it's been a choice. I made a decision. I made that whether I succeeded it or not, whether I become successful or not, this is what really that will make me feel fulfilled in this life. And that's really what has kept me going, even up until today. I mean, as an artist, I've been very fortunate and blessed. There's still challenges, but it's always a blessing, man. Really, to be honest, it's always a blessing to be able to be in position, to wake up every day and, do music and create music for a living. It's really such a blessing, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
Your creative process in creating a song, how do you do that? Let's dive into your creative brain.
I'm a massively melodic. I'm very, very melodic and melody inclined as a creative. I believe melody is a very spiritual and something of really another world. So a lot of my creativity starts when it comes to music, quite very melody based. Then I build everything around, I think I've always want to find melodies that anyone from around the world could be able to sing or hum without even understanding what I'm singing about. That really the basis. So for me, it's a universal language that I was trying to find through melodies. I'm also a very rhythmic person. My first instrument also been a drum machine. So drums are very, very important as well as bass. So for me, once I get the melodies, it's always finding the rhythm around the song and then build all the other elements. Lyrics, English being my seventh language. I write in French, in Swahili, I write in English. So I always find fun. Sometimes you find certain words of different languages just popping up because they really sound fitting or sound really cool in particular. But most of my creative process is very much melody based because, man, melodies can just transport you to another realm, which I think is something really phenomenal and really beautiful.
So when you're actually going in to create a song, do you actually know, okay, today it's going to be English, today's going to be French or Swahili, or does it just flow as the creative process is happening?
Often it's just flow, man. Like sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it just flows. Only because I'll jump on the microphone and then things just gonna come out, and I just let it flow, and then I let the music guide me. Like a lot of the time, I just let the music guide me, being spontaneous and letting everything just flow naturally.
Now, when you won the South African Music Award a few years back for Best Album, obviously you've been building the foundation blocks, been working hard. How did that accolade make you feel at the time?
Man, awards are such incredible things, but they very gratifying, and it's a tangible,
Yes.
As for hard work you put in.
Yeah.
It feels good. I've been very fortunate. I've had but basically most of my album win awards for Best Pop Album of the Year back to back, and it's always a great feeling. I won't lie, it was a great feeling to just see the work that you put in being recognized, amongst your peers, and it's always a really great feeling, and very encouraging feeling.
I totally agree with you with that, because often you're in your own space, you're in your own world, just creating. Obviously, you're getting the impact of the responses on social media, the streams and so forth, but you don't know how much of an impact it's having to get in the industry. So to get those accolades is fantastic. I understand that thought process. I know and understand that you've collaborated with a bunch of different artists. How do those collaborations come to be? And how do you choose who you want to collaborate with?
Often it's always an organic process. A lot of the artists I've collaborated with has been either a restart or the restart. And I'm always very intentional with collaboration. So sonically, they need to create something fresh, beautiful, and something new, just to again, be able to push the envelope, create some sort of, exciting musical moment, which for me is very important. I don't do collaboration just for the sake of it. It's gotta be something that I feel I'll be very proud of as an artist when it's out there in the world, something that will stand tall on something that will stand in the future, many years, that will still be as fresh and as a classic sonically in the future. So for me, collaborations are really when you get to bring the best both worlds together, but only the fitting parts, the fitting artists that are compatible, and for me, I've been, of course, very fortunate collaborating with artists from different genre. And for me, again, I love to say I'm a genre bending artist. I don't believe in the boxes, genre boxes, whatever artist I enjoy with and I feel like would be perfect to collaborate with. Often we will end up doing something really special.
As you've said, you're genre bending, but how do you know that a specific artist will be, you'll synergize and the melodies and everything will fit? Is it just a gut feeling to say, okay, I know person A is going to work and it just flows? Or has it ever been a situation where it's like you wanted to collaborate with someone, they've reached out and said yes, and then when you've got into the room, the synergy is not there?
Sometimes, of course, as creative, you always find times where you'll go in studio and maybe, the music is not really flowing naturally, and I feel like for me, that's part of the process, a beautiful thing, because just because artists are meeting does not mean only music can come out of it. Sometimes it's inspiration, sometimes it's the change of direction, sometimes it's conversations that will spark future ideas, There's been definitely sessions that are, to the eye of another person will be like, oh man, we didn't make a song. Does not mean it was unsuccessful, So it just means there were different, results out of, that occasion, But when you come to artists, man, creativity is such a beautiful, spontaneous, and also something unpredictable, you can never predict what will happen in the studio. You can never predict what will be the next biggest thing or what will be the next biggest hit or where will it come. Often the song that you most overlook or neglect become the life-changing songs. It's a funny thing. It really is a funny thing. The beauty of music for me is just like whatever is the potential big song, whatever is the potential album song, I always make sure I would give it our very best before it goes out to the people.
What's coming up next over the next few months?
A lot of music, my friend.
Okay.
Much music for the people. It's I've not dropped music in a while, and where I'm at right now is really focusing on dropping music, and pushing music. That's really where I'm at right now, dropping music and expanding the music around the world and hopefully touring in Europe and the US. That really where a lot of focus is at the moment.
And your latest release that's just released, tell us more about that.
Wale Wale is a new exciting dance African song that is just a fusion of, element from Kenya in language of Sophia Nzao and Congo with me and Swahili, and the genre is Afro House. It's very fresh. I'm really excited about it. It's been really building great momentum here in South Africa as well as in Europe. And it's one of many exciting dance songs that will drop this year. And I'm really excited about it, man.
I love this game. I know if I had to answer this question in 5 minutes, 5 hours, I know your answer will be different every time simply because there are millions of them. I'm not saying favorite, I'm saying top of mind. If you had to push play to 5 artists once we finish this conversation, and if you can think of specific songs, if you can't think of specific songs, just the 5 artists, who would those artists be? And if you can think of songs, what would the songs be?
Okay. Let me think very carefully, right? I listen to so much music, man.
Yeah.
Top of list. So Daft Punk probably had a Pastor Stronger. Definitely Gautier, somebody that I used to know. Phil Collins, In the Air. Massive Congolese artist, my favorite of all time, Papa Wemba, Show Me the Way. And I'll go for Sade Sweetest Taboo.
What do you enjoy about performing live?
I think for me is the instant gratification, just watching the fans enjoying the music in real time. Just getting to exchange that energy with people, bring smile on people's faces, making people's body feel like they need to move, and that's beautiful. Forget about the dancing. The fact that the music make people feel, they feel and then they move after. They feeling prior dancing is really exciting, So the excitement for me, just like the amount of joy and, the music and the moment sparks in people really is exciting.
Like when your dad was watching at that time and he was trying not to sway his head, but his head was swaying.
Where he was forcing, an African dad was like, be cool,
So the podcast is listened to throughout the world. As a final message, what would you like to say?
No, thank you so much for having me. It's been such a great, great pleasure. And to anyone that support my music, thank you so much. And for those new listening to the music, please dive deep, enjoy the journey. And I hope we get shot again soon.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Celeb Savant. Please follow Barrett on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at Celeb Savant. That's CelebSavant.